The Florida Panthers, first in the Atlantic Division, reigning Stanley Cup champions, were riding a 7-game winning streak before playing the Devils. They're playing in front of their home fans, and yet that did not matter to New Jersey. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils, coming to you live from Amerant Bank Arena. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Steven stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils Wire Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member Trey Matthews. Amerant Bank Arena was so nice, I had to visit it twice. The New Jersey Devils played the Florida Panthers for the second time in 3 days, and this game was better than the last one. It was a statement victory for New Jersey. A lot was going against them, but they silenced a lot of their naysayers. Now, before I share my main takeaways and play some sound bites throughout this episode, first, some housekeeping. I don't know if you guys watch the show Jeopardy. I personally don't, because I don't think I'm smart enough to answer some of those questions. But one sports-related question made its way onto the show, and it involved legendary goaltender Martin Brodeur, who I've said on this show before is the greatest goalie of all time. And in that question, they said that one of his nicknames was Satan's Wallpaper. Now, Brodeur was in the press box alongside me, so I asked him, who called you Satan's Wallpaper? Because it didn't sound familiar. And he told me nobody but Jeopardy has called them that. So just putting that into the light. But on a more serious note, let's talk about this game between the reigning Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers, and the New Jersey Devils. What's on the agenda for today's episode? In the first segment, I will share some of my main takeaways from the matchup. Then in the second segment, I will list my honorable mentions and name my personal 3 stars of the game. I will also play a few sound bites from Jesper Bratt, Sheldon, Keefe, and Stefan Noesen, which, by the way, I did an exclusive one-on-one interview with Stefan Noesen in the previous episode after a Devils morning skate. If you have not checked out that episode, please pause this episode and give it a listen. And then in the third and final segment, like I do with every post-game recap, I will compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade. Now, I said, while the first win against the Panthers was impressive for New Jersey, I said, you've only climbed the first hurdle. You still got a couple more to climb over. And Paul Maurice is definitely not going to take that loss sitting down. He inserted Sam Bennett back into the lineup, who's currently a point-per-game player, and 2-time Vezina Trophy winner Sergei Bobrovsky was in between the pipes, which means the Devils had to be on their A game once again. And a little bit of a fun fact for you, excluding the 2021 COVID-shortened 56-game season, this is the first time that the Devils played the same team twice on the road in a row, which works great for me because I'm currently living in the Florida area with my internship with the Florida Everblades. So I loved traveling down to Sunrise to cover the games while they're within a short time span of one another. But digressing a little bit, in the first period, I told you guys that one of my keys to the game was to try to outmatch or at least equal the speed and physicality from the Panthers. Last game, the Devils got outshot by the Panthers in the first period, and they made Jacob Markstrom work. However, this game was a little different. A couple minutes into the game, New Jersey was able to generate a few decent looks on Bobrovsky. Now, while the game was going on, I was listening to Matt Loughlin and Chico Resch call the game on the radio airways. I have Sirius XM app on my phone, so I put on my headphones and I listen to them call the action. There's a little bit of a delay, but I still enjoy it. And they were saying that it was a tough start once again for the Devils, but they got their act together quickly, which if you compare it to the previous game, it took a while for the Devils to get something going, and they played more efficiently. Halfway through the period, Luke Hughes ripped a shot that bounced off the leg pads of Bobrovsky, and Noesen muscled it in despite former Devil Dmitry Kulikov hounding him. And like I said, I did a one-on-one interview with Noesen in the previous episode, so I was very happy that he had a great outing in this matchup. Speaking of former Devils, Jesper Boquist, he had a nifty move a couple minutes later to tie the game, and he made Jake Allen and the other players look outright foolish. I'm just like, whoa, where was this from Jesper Boquist when he was with the Devils? I knew he could score every now and again, but I didn't know that was in his arsenal. And I don't think the Devils knew that either. It was impressive. I got to give him credit where credit is due. But once again, the Devils answered back in a big way. After killing off Tomas Tatar's questionable hooking call, the Devils entered the power play thanks to a Carter Verhaeghe slashing call. And Jesper Bratt scored a power play goal to beat the buzzer, and it was a great laser setup by Dougie Hamilton. This is what I've been talking about, which is, okay, the Panthers threw a punch at you. No pun intended, because this game was once again physical, but the Devils retaliated with a couple of hits of their own. The second period, interesting first 5 minutes. Sam Reinhart scored the opening goal in the period to tie the game. It was a nice toe drag by him, but this is where it starts to get a little hot in the kitchen. Forsling was assessed a holding call on Nico Hischier, and in my opinion, he got a little too physical with the Devils captain. Hischier was going into the boards, so the Devils entered the power play, but not before Stefan Noesen and Aaron Ekblad went toe-to-toe with one another. They didn't drop the mitts or anything, but they certainly exchanged some words. Things were getting a little heated. Both of them were assessed roughing calls on one another, and you love to see it when the Devils stick up for their captain. And Jesper Bratt actually talked about this a little later in his respective soundbite. But the strangest play happened on that power play. Jack Hughes was trying to pass the puck to Dawson Mercer, but Dmitry Kulikov kicked it on in. Originally, it was credited to Jack, but later the NHL changed it to Dawson Mercer's goal, and I heard that the MSG broadcast broke it down, and it never touched Mercer. So I was left a little puzzled in the media room when I saw the news that it was credited to Mercer. But either way, Hughes walked away with a point. He was given an assist, and he got a couple more. I'll talk about that momentarily. But anyway, period is flying along. Tempers are obviously still relatively high, and Nico Mikkola was assessed an interference call. And I think that was sort of retaliation, and it was a bit of a soft call, if you ask me, because I think the Devils, the play prior, got away with the penalty, and I think the Panthers were a little frustrated, and you can hear the boos all throughout the Amerant Bank Arena, and the Panthers have to go on the PK once again. Devils had a beautiful game plan drawn up with about 20 seconds remaining in the period. One-timer shot from Stefan Noesen, thanks to a great feed from Nico Hischier. Second buzzer beater goal of the game. And you just knew that the Devils were not going to look back. And then come the third period, a big event happened. The first one is that Jesper Bratt scored 2 unanswered goals himself, one of them being the empty netter, and Bratter walked away with a hat trick. But Curtis McDermott got into a fight with Jonah Gadjevich. The second time in this mini-series that Gadjevich went toe-to-toe with a Devils player. The first one was Brendan Dillon, and now he's taking on Curtis McDermott. And despite McDermott being the first one to fall to the ground, I think Gadjevich got the short end of the stick, because I think after that fight concluded, Gadjevich did not return to the game. And I just, once again, loved the physicality That was a point of emphasis entering this matchup. And here's what Stefan Noesen had to say about the physicality, because we saw him get into the face of a few Panthers players the past few games. Take a listen. What can you say about the physicality? It seemed to pick up as the game progressed, especially in front of this hostile crowd.
That's Florida Panthers for you. You know, that's they get down, they make it a fight. I respect that and I appreciate that. That's old school hockey, and you got a guy like Maurice over there who is old school, and they got the team that wants to muck it up when things aren't going their way. And again, I respect it. That's my kind of hockey, so I enjoy it.
I know Jesper Bratt is not really a physical player, but I still wanted to hear his perspective on it. Here's what he had to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, we're standing up for each other. We're a tough team to play against too, and obviously they're probably the team that sets the bar for one of the toughest teams. So we're standing up for that, and we got some unbelievable guys on the team that stands up for one another. And it was a physical game, and I think we answered that bell pretty well.
My main takeaways from this game: cohesiveness. The Devils seem to be playing much better team hockey. Their special teams was phenomenal. 3 power play goals. 1 from Bratter, 1 from Mercer, 1 from Noesen. And their penalty kill was good too. The Panthers were 0 for 5 on the man advantage. Physicality. And this was a statement victory for New Jersey. Let me tell you some facts heading into Sunrise that the Devils were facing. This Panthers team, first in the Atlantic Division, they were riding a 7-game winning streak, and now they have lost 5 games in regulation, and 2 of them have come against the Devils. If people doubted the Devils before, I think those doubts are starting to get smaller, and smaller. Similar to what Sheldon Keefe said, give this team some time to gel together, get more practice time, and they were going to be just fine. And this was an entertaining game to witness. All right, I'm going to list my 3 stars and name some honorable mentions momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with the promo code NHL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and gifting experts at Omaha Steaks, they have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully created gift packaging starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with the promo code NHL and $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with the promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. All right, like I do with every post-game recap victory, I will list some honorable mentions and name my personal 3 stars of the game. Honorable mention number 1, Dougie Hamilton. He walked away with an assist. He got the primary assist on Jesper Bratt's first goal. More people need to talk about Dougie Hamilton's impact from an offensive standpoint. He now has 7 points in his last 5 games, all of them assists, and he has 15 points in 20 games played. I remember early on this year, Dougie, despite having a good offensive impact, wasn't getting the points that I'm sure he wanted, and now he's starting to rack up the points way more consistently. My next honorable mention goes to Luke Hughes. I talked about Luke Hughes in the previous post-game recap episode. I spoke to Sheldon Keefe about Hughes' defensive impact, and Keefe had nothing but high praise for Luke and his other defensemen. In this game, Luke Hughes got the primary assist on Stefan Noesen's opening goal. Once again, the points will come for Luke Hughes. Just want to give him credit. And he was actually looking very good offensively and was creating a lot of opportunities for his team. And I just have to give him credit because, once again, that first goal by Noesen, it was a great finish, net front presence by Nace, but that does not happen without Hughes and his strong offensive efforts. Real quick, shout out to the captain, Nico Hischier, who finished with 3 assists in this game. He is now a point-per-game player, 20 points in 20 game appearances. All right, my third star goes to Jack Hughes. Despite not walking away with the goal like originally planned, it was still a 3-point night for Jack. Once again, all of them assists, and I still think the second period game-winning goal on the power play that should have been his goal, it touched Dmitry Kulikov, which shout out to Kulikov for helping your former club, but it never touched Mercer. I'm a little confused by that, but that's why I'm not an off-ice official. Jack was just a catalyst on the power play. All 3 of his assists came via the man advantage. He got the secondary assist on Jesper Bratt's first goal in the first period. He got the primary assist on Dawson Mercer's goal. Very controversial call, but I'm going to move on from that. Then he got the secondary assist on Stefan Noesen's second goal of the game. Jack Hughes now has 3 3-point outings in his last 5 games. He has 10 points in his last 5 games. Jack Hughes is here, ladies and gentlemen, and the league should be put on notice because we know how dangerous Jack can be when healthy. Knock on wood, hopefully he can stay healthy going the rest of the way. My second star has to go to Stefan Noesen. As you guys know, big fan of Noesen's game. Had the chance to speak to him once again post-game. Here's what he had to tell me and the rest of the media.
Steph, obviously we talked coming in about them being a measuring stick. 2 games, 2 wins. Where do you feel you guys are as a team kind of molding and building?
Molding and building. Yeah, that's those are 2 good wins. That's obviously a really good hockey team. Special teams were huge tonight for us. 3 power play goals, and we had a really good job on the PK as well. And it's a good 60-minute game. Good 6 periods against the Stanley Cup champs, and now we got to move on to Tampa.
What's been working so well for the power play in particular? Not even just tonight, just in general lately.
Yeah, it's just been it's kind of just one thing after another. We're starting to learn where guys are going to be, kind of and just trusting one another. Whether it's myself saying something or whether it's Jack, Nico, Brad, or even Dougie. I mean, everyone's got everyone's attention, no matter what time it is, when it is, and we all actually try to execute the best we can. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does, and tonight we were able to.
Another 2 goals for you tonight. Just feeling it for yourself too.
Yeah, it's again. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. I got the first one was pretty greasy, just a little one that popped out there, and second one hit off a stick and went in. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, and there'll be plenty of times where throughout the year where you'll be sitting there probably saying, "Have scored in a few games," and that's just the way it goes.
Does the past relationship you had with Sheldon Keefe, him being your head coach in the AHL, has it helped you a lot, especially since you're having a big impact on this team?
I wasn't with him in the minors. I was actually with him in Toronto when he was there, but that was short-lived. But yeah, it's just mutual knowing of each other, mutual respect. He's obviously done a very good job while he was in Toronto under the pressure of the media and everything else, the big expectations that come from that. And kind of probably feels like a weight lifted off his shoulders a little bit coming here with only a couple of you guys around, right? So it's not too bad, and he's done a great job so far. Again, he's learning everyone. We're all learning him, and it's 20 games in the season. We got a long year ahead of us.
It's funny. In that interview that I conducted with Noesen, he talked about his net front presence and also his ability to come up big on the power play. And once again, net front presence in the first period, which gave the Devils a 1-0 lead. And then in the second period, that one-timer shot by him, buzzer beater on the power play. Stefan Noesen is amazing. And then the first star, obviously, it has to go to the best player in the NHL, Jesper Bratt, hat trick. For any of you who don't know, that's just an inside joke on Twitter, but getting back on track, he scored 2 goals in the third period. and it was just a great outing from Bratter. Here's what he had to tell myself and the rest of the media post-game.
Bratter, you have 11 points in your last 6 games. What's clicking for you offensively?
I think our line, especially in our power play, is being pretty dialed in right now. We're working hard in practice. We understanding what works for us as a line and as a team, and I think the team builds the whole momentum for us as a line too to get out there and capitalize. I think, me, Pally, and Jackie together, we really play well together right now. Pally gets to the hard areas and winning pucks for us. He creates that space for me and Jack to do our thing, and obviously Jack has been playing unbelievable lately too. So it's been working for us lately, and just gotta keep that momentum going.
What's working well for the power play? Like, why has it been clicking so well?
I think we've just been dialed in and knowing what we need to do. Obviously, the scouting has been a big part from the coaching staff to make sure that we know what to do when we're getting out there on the ice. And then, if you look at the first goal on the power play on my goal, then there's basically probably 6 or 7 really hard puck battles when they could have cleared the puck, and we keep the puck in the zone. They do an unbelievable job at winning some hard puck battles, and then we're getting to use our skill and our creativity when the pucks get to the open area. So, but it starts with the hard, really, really hard battles that we keep the puck in.
Okay. Listen back to that soundbite. Before I move on, I just want to say he gave credit to Andre Palat. And like I told you guys, Andre Palat, what he does is not going to show up in the score sheet. But notice how Bratter gave credit to Andre for helping him and Jack do their things. Jack is the electrifying goal getter. Same with Jesper Bratt. But Andre Palat is doing the dirty work in order to give those 2 players possession. I'm really glad that Bratter gave credit when credit is due. So those are my 3 stars of the game. I will play Sheldon Keefe's soundbite momentarily, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about Select Quote. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics, the world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing, teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while Select Quote's licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. And now, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, here's what Sheldon Keefe had to say about his team's overall outing the past couple games against the Panthers. Take a listen.
Just thought competitively our guys were in the right place where you're required to be to compete against a team like this, but also just our execution, our breakouts and defensive details. Obviously a couple breakdowns on the 2 goals, but for the most part it was real consistent effort and in all facets of the game, 5-on-5, special teams, goaltending, everybody did their part tonight.
I talked with Stefan Noesen in the second intermission, saying that it's a game of managing momentum swings. Obviously, a flurry of penalties tonight, a lot of energy and emotion in this rematch. Can you just speak more about the testament to your special teams tonight?
Yeah, the power play was cooking with gas here tonight. I mean, it was, we didn't, like 2 of our power plays come right at the end of periods, with not a lot of time on the clock, and the guys don't even need to use what's left. They make good on it. So that's a testament to the players and their execution, but also the plan going in that Jeremy Carlton had and some of the adjustments that we made coming in to the second game. Penalty kill grinded out some kills for us, and that's a big part of it. You want to win on the road, you want to beat a team for the second time in their own building. You need those type of efforts.
Well, Sheldon, what can you just speak about the pushback that you guys have physically? Something I've been talking about over the last couple games here is that, the identity up and down the lineup, not just fighting, but just physicality, the forecheck. It has to be encouraging to see the guys buying in.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we've been preaching that since day one of camp. It's a requirement if you want to compete at a high level in the league. And it looks a little differently for everyone throughout the lineup. But, when there's a puck battle to be had or there's body positioning to be won, we've got to be absolutely engaged and be on the right side of as many of those as we can. So that was one of the things I liked. I mean, you go back and you watch, especially our first and second power play goals here tonight. There were great finishes for us. The puck goes in, but the effort that was required in puck battles to get those pucks back for us, that's a testament to our group completely buying in and recognizing that competitiveness like that is an offensive asset.
I agree with them. This was a statement victory for New Jersey. Look, I don't want to get ahead of myself. This is game 20 of 82. A lot can still happen. But these past couple wins for New Jersey says something, especially since they were able to dominate the reigning champions in their own barn in front of a hostile environment. It's one of the reasons why I will never fault a team for performing better on the road than they do at home, because being a good road team is so important. And the Devils have done that this season. Hopefully they can rack up a couple more home wins. I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm just saying it's not the worst trait to have. All right, let me compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade, and check out of here from Sunrise, Florida. Man, a lot of penalties in this game. Shots on goal differential 29-27 in favor of the Devils. Similar to what Matt and Chico said on the Devils airwaves, seems like the Devils really started to play more in unison, get their act together rather early, and neutralize this Panthers team. Power plays, Devils were 3 for 5. Shout out to Jeremy Colleton. He has done one hell of a job with the Devils on the man advantage. One of the best in the NHL. And I talked about how the Devils had a lot of talent on their power play units, both this season and last season. And with Dougie Hamilton coming back and the Devils being more healthy, you're starting to see that on full display. Panthers 0 for 5 on the PK. Remember what I said in the previous post-game recap episode? Prior to that Sam Reinhart power play goal, the Devils had killed off 20 straight penalties. Hits 45-29 in favor of the Panthers. Similar to what Noesen said, that's just the brand of hockey Florida plays. Tried to get underneath the Devils' skin. You saw Gadjevich trying to go at it with Dylan and also McDermott. And I think he's now hurt as a result. Can't confirm or deny that. Giveaways 16-15 in favor of the Devils. Takeaways 8-4 in favor of the Panthers. Block shots 13-10 in favor of the Devils. Time spent in the penalty box 17 apiece. All right. If I had to give the Devils a letter grade, this game had everything. Jack Hughes got a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. There was a hat trick. There was a fight. The Devils played really well against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, not once but twice in front of a hostile environment. This is already a successful trip to the Sunshine State. I'm going to give the Devils an A. This was another great outing, and it was better than their first performance against the Panthers a couple days ago. Let me know what you guys thought of these last couple games against Florida, and what are your expectations for the Devils moving forward? Are they for real, or are they just pretenders? Like I said, still plenty of season to be played, but I think the Devils are heading in the right direction. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on a podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X Page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X Page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening once again. Trey Matthews signing out from Amerant Bank Arena. I will see you in Tampa Bay.